Now, slowly, interestingly, we are moving from theory to practical. So far, whatever we have discussed, most of the time, अभी तक जो भी लेक्चर्स हुए, जो भी सेशन हुए, वो ज्यादा करके आयुर्वेदिक theory से related थे. But now we are coming into the practical aspect of Ayurveda. And very important part of this is DINCHARYA. And one of the concept of DINCHARYA is very interesting in Ayurveda, that एक दिन हमको कैसा बिताना चाहिए, how to plan over day, how to spend over day. So it is a very beautiful concept of Ayurveda कि normally we never plan, but Ayurveda has specifically said, specifically schedule has given कि how आपको दिन में क्या क्या करना चाहिए, covering all the aspect of Ayurveda which I said, the aspect of Bhakti Yoga, the aspect of Karma Yoga, the aspect of Jnana Yoga, and the aspect of Raj Yoga. And that is what called as Ayurvedic Dincharya. And I'm very happy that today we have a Vaidya with us, not a doctor. She is Vaidya Heema Nanavati. So that is a pure Ayurvedic terminology. Very happy to introduce Vaidya Heema. She did her BMS from the Podar Ayurvedic College, Mumbai, and the CGO. She graduated from Podar in 2001, and then last 18 years she is practicing as a Ayurvedic physician, Ayurvedic Vaidya in Kandivali area. And she has also integrated yoga therapy, the use of the yoga therapy and use of the different yoga props, that is followed by one of the school of yoga that is called as Iyengar school. So not only it is a long practice of Ayurveda, but also it is a long application of yoga therapy also in different metabolic condition, muscular condition, autoimmune disorder, psoriasis. And interestingly, now she treats patients with the holistic approach of Ayurveda and yoga therapy. And her special interest is the postural alignment. So thank you, Hima, for giving your valuable time and giving your valuable inputs into this lecture series. And I am sure all the participants, those who are attending today's lectures, will be very happy end of the series. So with this note, I request Hima, please start your session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for a generous introduction. Thank you so much. I would love to share this knowledge with you. Just a minute, I'll just start the screen share. Is the screen visible?
Yes, it's visible. Yes, I request everyone to please keep yourself muted until and unless speaker tells you don't unmute yourself. Please.
Yes. So there are few participants who might not understand English completely. So जिनको बिल्कुल इंग्लिश नहीं समझ में आती है, वो इंग्लिश समझने की कोशिश कीजिए. नहीं समझ आए तो लास्ट में आप प्रश्न पूछिएगा, because I saw few participants who are my patients and they do not understand English in totality. So I would try to keep my lecture in English, but जिनको नहीं समझ आया प्लीज आप नोट डाउन कर लीजिए एंड लास्ट में आप प्रश्न पूछ लीजिएगा.
Dr. Hima, in between you have freedom to speak in Gujarati or Hindi also.
Okay, fine.
Okay, don't worry. Communication is important, not the language.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
So yesterday we saw Dr. Ghanshyam Sharma took a beautiful introduction of what is Swasthavritta. Swasthavritta means how do we do prevention of any kind of disease. Matlab, how do we keep ourselves healthy? Now उसका एक बहुत ही important part है, and that is दिनचर्या. दिनचर्या means दिन यानी कि day, and charya means your routine. So how are you going to spend your whole day? One beautiful day in your life is very important, and how do we plan it according to Ayurveda? And how do we inculcate and include yoga in our दिनचर्या? We're going to look at that. छोटा सा glimpse दे रहे हैं यहाँ पे कि दिनचर्या क्या है. हम दिनचर्या क्यों फॉलो करेंगे? सबसे पहला रीजन है कि हम दिनचर्या क्यों फॉलो करें. हम में से कोई भी ऐसा नहीं चाहता कि हम अनहेल्दी रहे. हम सब डिजीज प्रिवेंट करना चाहते हैं. तो disease prevention is the biggest thing, and that's why we follow दिनचर्या. Now दिनचर्या एक part है. If you do not want to fall sick, the major portion that we look through is maintaining जाठराग्नि or your digestive fire. मतलब आपकी जाठराग्नि कितनी स्ट्रांग है. यदि आप दिनचर्या फॉलो करते हैं, आप रात्रिचर्या फॉलो करते हैं, ऋतुचर्या फॉलो करते हैं, and you follow the Ahar Vidhi Vigyan. Ahar Vidhi Vigyan is another science which is there in Ayurveda, which describes how and when, what kind of food do you eat and how do you eat. Another thing that you follow is Rasayan. In eating Rasayan or following a Achar Rasayan means how do you follow a behavioral method which is like a Rasayan. Now, when we do all these things, when you maintain your Jataragni, you follow all these Dincharya, Ritucharya, Ratricharya, you follow all the methods of eating food, all the rules and regulations. You also take a Rasayan so that you do not fall sick. And even if you do Achar Rasayan, that is, you follow some behavioral Rasayans, then too sometimes we tend to fall sick. Now, in spite of this, why do we follow all these things? We follow all these things so that we can recognize an imbalance very early. We can pick it up very early. Now, we go to Dinacharya. So, Dinacharya is described as a regimen which is to be followed by a healthy person and also a person who is recovering from sickness or who is ill. But the regimen depends from person to person. The common regimen today we are going to describe is going to be a regimen which is going to balance all your elements. Example, if there is, consider that this is a body and उसमें बहुत सारे pipelines है. You have all the plumbing system in your body, like all your arteries, your veins, all your channels which are there in the body, which carry your blood, which carries nutrition, which carries all the waste in the body. Now, even if your plumbing system is working every single day, if water is flowing through every day, yet what happens? There is some garbage or there is some chuck or there is some toxic waste that gets into the plumbing system. So that kachra or that toxic waste needs to be eliminated daily. So this dincharya helps as a daily mini detox for a person. Now, in spite of following all the things that we have looked up to into Ahar Vidhi, which we had a lecture a few days ago, these things happen. And so now we look into what are we going to do. Now, a person who's following Dincharya, what does he benefit? Why do we do a Dincharya? Now, when you follow a daily regimen, which is going to balance all the elements, it's going to give you a very good sound sleep because it keeps all your doshas in balance. When you follow the Dincharya, basically what we are trying to learn is we're trying to sync our body clock to the nature's clock. Now, everybody knows that there's a body clock which is called as a circadian rhythm. That clock needs to sync to the nature's clock. And if that is in sync, all your doshas and all your systems in the body, they go smooth hand in hand. Now, all these doshas, when they get stuck up in the body, they do not make you feel fresh, they make you feel lethargic. But when you follow Dincharya, it makes you wake up fresh. It makes you feel very energetic and very alert. And because all the doshas, and specifically when your Vayu is balanced, it curbs all your food cravings. It also curbs cravings like coffee, tea, smoke, the craving for nicotine. It always keeps you high spirited. When you follow the Dincharya, it protects all your senses like your eyes, your nose, your teeth, your sense of taste, your hearing. Everything is protected for all the long years that you are living. So when you follow this, it also gives a very good luster to your skin. It maintains your very good health. When you follow it, it also gives you better decision making power. When you follow this and when you wake up fresh and you start your day very beautifully, it gives you full strength to work on a very planned manner. So you don't waste your energy anywhere and you have your energy in full potential. This Dincharya works more like an anti-aging process and keeps you healthy all your life. Basically, the more you follow it every day, you become very aligned to your own system. What happens when you're aligned to your own system is that even if there is a minor imbalance in your body, then you pick it up very early. The signaling system of your body, which goes to the brain that, oh, there is something wrong over here, you can immediately find out and you can take care of it immediately the next day. So we'll look at what is a Ayurvedic clock. Now, everybody knows that we have 24 hours in a day. And most of you must be also knowing about the doshas, three doshas, Vayu, Pitta, and Kapha. So in a day, if we divide the whole day into 24 hours into two parts, the day part and the night part, and you divide it from sunrise to sunset and from sunset to the sunrise. So the time when sun rises, and if you take the first 4 hours, that is Kapha predominant. That is Kapha predominant in the body also and in the environment, in the nature also. The next 4 hours, that is post the sunrise, the first 4 hours, example, if we take, suppose the sun rises at 6 and you take it from 6 to 10, that would be Kapha predominant. And similarly, we would go from sunrise to sunset. So from sunset, 4 hours, sunrise say 4 hours. These are Kapha predominant. Then you take the next 4 hours, that is from 10 to 2 in the morning and in the evening. They are Pitta predominant. And the next 4 hours, they would be Vayu predominant. So when this cyclical clock goes in the universe, in the nature, that same clock goes in your own body. Now what we are doing is, if we arrange our body and our work according to the nature's clock, then the imbalance of the doshas becomes very, very less. Now, how do we fit in everything into these 24 hours that has been beautifully described? Most of the things are very practical in this. Now, in this, the kapha time is the time when the body has the maximum strength. So from sunrise, example 6 to 10, or in the evening 6 to 10 is the best time when you can include your yoga and pranayam and your exercises in that time. That's the time for creating stability in the body. Then the pitta time, the next time, which is from 10 to 2, that is the digestion time. That's the time when the sun is high in the daytime, and at the night time, though there is no sun, but that's the high time when your enzymes are very, very high in the body. So those are the times when you generally feel very hungry in the day. Vayu is the time from after 2 to 6 in the evening, in the afternoon, and at the night, to early morning, 2 to 6. That is the Vayu time, in which there is lot of excretion in the body. All your waste products get out of the body. All the functions of the Vayu, like your creativity and all that, gets enhanced. So now, how do we sync this? Let's look at that. Now in Ayurveda, there's a long sequence, right from waking up to sleeping early. The whole sequence has been described. If you can see, there are a lot of around 22 sequences which are given, which goes from how do you wake up, how do you look at your body, how do you pray, how do you cleanse your physical body, how do you cleanse your mental body, how do you dress up, what kind of work you do, what kind of activities you do, everything has been described in detail. This is what you do throughout the day. And once you return back to home, what all things that you need to do to keep your night also extremely peaceful. All that has been described, but we're going to look here only few of them as glimpses. I've picked a few of them to be described in detail for this session. Now, in this, if you look at few of the things, they are very similar to Shatkarmas that we have in the yogic karmas. So they also act as detox, and this dincharya also acts as a detox. Like how we work on our annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, and manomaya kosha. Similarly, this dincharya also works on all these three koshas on a gross level, and rest the other two koshas are worked upon automatically. So now I have picked up 4 or 5 common things that we do every day, but I will tell you the importance how to do it right. Now in Ayurveda, it is said that you should wake up in Brahma Murta. Why should we wake up in Brahma Murta? Because the biggest benefit that you see is it syncs your body to the natural clock. Now when you wake up in Ayurveda, what they say is basically you should look at whether your food is digested or not digested. The moment you wake up and you feel that you are feeling lethargic, it means your previous night dinner has not yet digested. So what does Ayurveda say? Ayurveda says go back to sleep, and the moment you feel that your sleep is over, it means your previous night meal will be digested completely. It also says that you should not wake up early. People who are ill should not wake up early. Now, the waking up time is Brahma Muhurt, and Brahma Muhurt is exactly 90 minutes before the sunrise. Now, when you wake up in the Brahma Muhurt, the biggest benefit is that everybody is generally quiet. There is not too much of activity. The Sattva Gun in the environment is predominant. So, when you wake up at this time, you get a fresh breath because the pollution is also less. There is less mental activity whole over that area. Half of the earth has day and half of the earth has night. But at that point of time, the place where you stay locally, because people are not yet engaged into any activity, the mental activities, the whole universe is comparatively quieter at that time. So it gives you a lot of good time to meditate, think over, ponder over your day. And once you wake up, how do you awaken your senses? So Ayurveda says that you fill up your mouth. You can note down this and you can start following this dinacharya from tomorrow morning. So you fill up your mouth with a lot of water, the tap water. Fill it like a Hanuman. You need to really stretch it completely. And then you open your eyes wide and splash water completely into your eyes and onto your forehead and onto your temples. The water needs to go like that way. Now, when you do that, what happens is you are actually awakening your frontal brain. You're awakening your temporal lobe. And you're also awakening your eyes. Eyes actually perceive the whole world. That's the first thing that you do when you open your eyes, you actually perceive the world. So when you do that, it awakens all your senses. It stimulates all the vayu in the body and all your nervous system gets opened up. The moment you do this, you feel very alert and fresh. Now, when you are also filling up your mouth with water, what happens is you're stretching all the tiny nerve endings that are there in the whole mucosa inside. So that also gives a signal to your brain, and then you feel more alertness. So try this in the morning. There will be a lot of people who might be just splashing water into the eyes, but when you fill it up, water in the mouth, you stretch it to your max limit, and then when you splash it up, and also splash water on your forehead, it will give you a different kind of alertness. A lot of people who wake up lethargic will also find a difference just by doing this. But those who have indigestion, make it sure that you complete your sleep, because that extra amount of sleep, that half an hour or 45 minutes that you give extra to your body, will digest the previous night's sleep. So it's not necessary that every day you wake up only in the Brahma Murti. You just need to wake up when it's time to wake up for your body. And when you're done with that, I've picked up another Dinacharya, that is the Shauch. Now we look at Shauch. Shauch means cleanliness of body. Now, Shauch in Ayurveda has been described in two patterns. One is the physical Shauch, and the second one is the mental Shauch. So the physical Shauch that we talk about here is bowel evacuation. So everybody who's present here must be going to potty either every day once, twice, or maybe somebody might be skipping it. And now how to make it easier, how to balance the doshas easier, how to make the process easier. Whatever you have eaten or whatever you have taken as a mental input in 24 hours gets digested by your body and your mind. Now, this physical shortage is about whatever you have eaten, consumed as food, that needs to get digested and evacuated out. Now, in our body, what happens is that there is a system of large intestine and a rectum. Like हम सबको पता है हमारे शरीर में अंतड़ियां है. So the large intestine which is there, उसका जो last portion होता है, which goes down, and then it attaches to the rectum. That has an angle. The sigmoid colon and the rectum, they are at an angle. So what has happened nowadays is everybody sits on a Western commode. Initially, people used to sit on the Indian commodes. There's a huge difference in evacuating your bowels in Western commode and Indian commode. When you sit on an Indian commode, the angle between the sigmoid colon and the rectum, it opens up and becomes straight. There's a muscle which goes like this way as a sling. So when you sit on a commode straight like this way, on a Western commode, that sling keeps the angle intact. So what happens? Aapki jo potty hai, your stool gets accumulated over there. But if you sit in an Indian commode, it opens up and the evacuation becomes very easy. Now for people who are old age, those who have knee joint problem, they cannot sit in the Indian commode. It's very difficult for them. Also for people who are very obese, how do we do that? There's a very simple solution for that. So what you can do is when you're sitting on your Western commode, just try it for a week and see how it feels. Bend a little bit to an angle of 60 degrees or 45 degrees while sitting on the Western commode. And what you do is, I'll just show, yes. Can you see the cursor on the screen? So what you do is, below your feet, you put a stool which will come up till here. Okay. So what will happen is, your knees will rise up and you're bending forward. So it will exactly give Indian commode kind of postural correction to your body. Now that helps evacuating the stools very easily. This is just one part. Now the second part which I'm going to emphasize, which is said in Ayurveda, is extremely important. Most of you must have observed that whenever we go to potty, we do not, the moment the potty is done, we don't just jump out immediately and get out of the potty, right? We sit there, we let something balance out there, right? Now for this balancing to get very quick and very fast, there's a very simple solution that Ayurveda texts have described, and that is pouring water on your feet. Pouring water on your feet means just on over here, right? You can see the cursor. Just pour water on your feet. People who are of Kapha Prakriti and Vayu Prakriti need to pour a little bit lukewarm water. Even if you go for passing urine, just observe the change that you find after pouring water on your feet. Obviously, everybody washes their hands, but pouring water on your feet is an extremely important thing that Ayurveda has described. Now, what happens with it, you observe for yourself, but I'll just give you an example. If there is a muddy road, not a pakka road, but a muddy road, and if there is a bullock cart going on that muddy road, now, have you seen in a movie or have you seen that personally, that when a bullock cart passes on a muddy road, you see there's a lot of dust that arises in the air. And now, if you want to settle that mud, what do? We just sprinkle water in the air and that mud settles down. Now that same work this water does. There was some equilibrium in your body when the potty was there. But the moment when you just remove out the potty, what happens is there is a lot of shuffling going on in the body. So all the vayu in your body, all the gases, all the systems, they are reshuffling. And it takes a while, maybe 30 seconds for someone, maybe 40 seconds for someone, maybe 1 minute for someone. But the moment you pour that water, it immediately pacifies all your vayu and it settles you down very quickly. There's one more thing that you'll notice. There are a lot of negative feelings, or you can say Rajagun Pradhan thoughts that come when you're evacuating your stools and your urine. The moment you pour this water, the amount of Rajagun Pradhan thoughts, they reduce considerably. So I would invite all of you to try it out for a week and just see. And then you can share it with us and just let us know how it feels for you. The second one, that is mental shortage or the cleansing of mind. Now in yoga, we have practices which are meditative practices, which we call as dhyana. So Ayurveda suggests that once we wake up, when we do the physical shortage, after that, you sit down for a mental shortage. Whatever you have processed in the earlier 24 hours, like how we digest food, we also need to digest thoughts. We need to digest any processes, any suggestions, any advices given by anybody. Unless and until you digest it, that also becomes a waste, a mental waste. And Ayurveda suggests that you need to do this. So what is it? You sit into a meditative practice of your choice. It could just be plain awareness of your body. It could just be plain breath awareness, or just orienting yourself to where you are. Like, where do you stay? How many people are there in the family? Just being aware of your surroundings. When you do this, what happens is there is an increased awareness. There is a decrease in prajna aparad. Now, what is prajna aparad? Prajna means your intellect, and aparad is a sin. So it's like an offense to your senses, which you have done purposely. To make it simpler, example, you know that you're not hungry, but what do? You see some kind of food, you see ice cream, you see chocolate, and you just pick it up. Now, why do you do that? You know that it is wrong, yet you do it. But why do you do it? Because your mental judgment is clouded. So now when you do this every single day, what happens is, oh, you'll see the chocolate, you'll see the ice cream, but before you pick it up, your mind is going to tell you, no, I'm not going to do this. So it helps you reduce your prajna aparad and helps you get to a better health. It makes your mind very present in this moment. When you do, when you make yourself available every moment in this moment, the amount of energy and the enthusiasm to do the work throughout the day is huge. You feel very calm and very settled. Throughout the day, you would have wonderful decision-making capability. For housewives, it could be simple thing like, आज मैं ये सब्जी बनाऊं, आज मैं वो सब्जी बनाऊं. No, even that is a big task. But if you every day give some little time for yourself and just mentally calm down, it will make your decisions very quick and very easy. This will also help in long run to prevent any kind of diseases that are related to mind. What we call in modern language is psychosomatic diseases. Psychosomatic means psycho means mind and somatic is the body. So people who tend continually to do things against their own good, like example, how I talked about eating chocolates, or example, you know that, oh, you shouldn't be watching TV for such a long time, but you still do. These are called as small sins that you do against yourself. So like the self abuse, those things reduce. But if you do not do a mental cleansing every day, generally you tend to keep doing the same thing again and again, again and again. And these are mental problems, but they cause disease in the body. They make an imbalance in the doshas and create imbalance, leading to a disease. So this is how a shortage, a mental shortage, prevents all these things. Now, after this, though I have skipped few of the things in the Dinacharya, I'm just taking glimpses of some practical things which everybody is doing, and I'm just giving them examples of how you can twist it to your health. Twist it in such a manner that it's just a small thing, you just need to change it a bit and twang it in the language of Ayurveda or in language of yoga and make it a healthier practice. So example, Danta Dhavan. Now I don't think so anybody here would be skipping Danta Dhavan. Danta Dhavan is cleansing of teeth. You'll be surprised. Ayurveda says that you need to avoid brushing your teeth also. And what are those conditions? We'll talk about it later. Now, even a simple tongue cleansing or cleansing your teeth is described in super detail in Ayurveda. Simple cleansing of teeth and the mouth gives a detox to all the senses. Our face has all the five senses: eyes, nose, your taste, hearing, your touch, everything is there. So when you stimulate your teeth, your gums, it detoxes all of these senses. It specifically says, Ayurveda says, they never have described anything like, okay, यहाँ पे salivary gland है या ये है. I was surprised when I studied. I was surprised that they have said that you should always brush your lower jaw first. And I had a question, why lower jaw first? So tomorrow onwards, you can try doing this. Instead of brushing your upper jaw and upper teeth first, try brushing your lower jaw. I did this, I realized, and I also found a scientific reason for doing this. The salivary glands that we have in the lower jaw, they secrete more saliva as compared to the salivary glands that we have in the top. So Ayurveda has described some 5,000 years back that, okay, don't brush your top teeth, you have to brush your lower jaw first. Lower jaw first, okay? When that happens, the amount of saliva that gets secreted in the first time when you press it is so much that it will actually throw off or flush off all the toxins that are there. Ayurveda says that use something which is katu, pitta, and kashayaras, means the taste of the tooth powder or the paste that you use should be a bit spicy, it should be a bit bitter, and it should be a little bit astringent. Kasala ras hona chahiye. Now, why so? Now, this area, like the above this, is very predominant in kapha. So what happens is that all the toothpaste that we use nowadays are all sweetened taste. Now, a sweet taste will induce more kapha production in the mouth. So Ayurveda intelligently so many years back said that use all such things. So tomorrow onwards, try this. Maybe if you are taking a toothpaste which is extremely sweet, you can go for a lesser sweeter version. Or there's another option. Try using tooth powders and see the difference that you feel. If you feel that, oh, ये tooth powder कुछ अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, you can just add a little bit of oil or a honey to it and then brush your teeth and feel the difference. Use it for a week. You can slowly start, maybe morning you're brushing with your toothpaste, night before going to bed, brush it with the tooth powder and see how you feel. Then comes the point of cleansing the tongue. Now, why do you cleanse the tongue? Now, when you cleanse your tongue, what happens is it improves the taste. It increases the ruchi in the food. Now, what is ruchi? If you look at a food, if there's a lot of coat on your taste buds, you will not be that excited to have that food. Now, if you see imli in front of you, without tasting, without eating it also, what happens? Your saliva starts secreting. Now, when you use these tooth powders, which are kasele in taste, what happens is this ruchi, the amount of saliva that is secreted when you look at the food or the excitement to eat food is much more. There's a lot of lightness and freshness in the mouth. And it also specifically indicates in Ayurveda that people who have a lot of cough tendency, those who have sinuses, they should use copper tongue cleansers. You get those metallic ones in the medical store, and those who have a lot of tendency towards having ulcers in the mouth, they can use silver tongue cleaners. They've also described gold, and they have also described many other metals, but we'll not go into those details. The regular one, simple one, you can use a steel one. There's another option. You can use a datun. You can make a nice brush out of it, chewing it. And that's the best brush. Dentists sometimes suggest you should use every day a new brush. Now that's economically not possible, but Ayurveda makes it very easily possible. You use a babul or neem ka datun, and what you do is you use that stick, chew it, make a brush out of it, use it for a day, cut it out, cut out the top portion, and then next day you get a new toothbrush. Again, you chew it, use it. So your this one datun lasts you for a few days, and every day you have a new datun. So it's also economical as well. It is bioecologically also very easy to use. Also, you feel the difference when you use a datun and when you use a toothpaste. You can also use your datun along with the tooth powder and use it again. So it's a very easy way. You can try it out for a week, 10 days, and just feel the difference. And you can notice what is the quality of your dental hygiene after that. Now, another activity that I've picked from the day is Vyayam. Vyayam means exercise. Now, in Ayurveda, all these activities that we started from ahead, like waking up to shorts and brushing, and there are a lot of other activities, all these come in that first half, like the moment you wake up and you even before you start all the day. So that falls into the time when there is kapha predominance in the body and also in the weather, in the climate. So now how to reduce the impact of that kapha in the body, how to utilize the strength that the kapha gives in the body, and how to maintain your body very well. So pranayam, yogasanas, they fit into this section of Dinacharya. Now, how much exercise to do, that also it has been described very well. You have to do only exactly half your capacity. Now, what is half capacity? The moment sweat breaks, it means it's your half capacity. And the maximum exercise that you can do is in spring season and in the winters, because we are the colder season. So you can take the liberty to exercise a little bit more. So when you do your yogasanas or you do your gymming or you do whatever other kind of exercises that you're doing, what does it do? It gives you a lot of lightness in the body. It improves your stamina. It reduces your fat. Now, everybody who's already practicing yoga and pranayam, they already know these benefits. I don't need to even tell you, okay, you need to do this. Now, Ayurveda strictly says that you should not be doing. It strictly says that people who have indigestion should not be exercising. It's a strict no. It's a strict no even to brush your teeth if you have indigestion. That's how much importance has been given to indigestion in Ayurveda. So people who are very elderly should be avoiding excessive exercise, and children below 16 years should be avoiding heavy exercises. Now, once you do your exercises, it's also important to know your prakriti. Now, people who do a lot of exercise develop a lot of heat in the body. There's a lot of vayu and pitta generated in the body. Even when we do a lot of pranayam, there's a lot of heat generated in the body. So the yoga teachers over here would be knowing that a person with a lot of pitta in the body or who has a pitta prakriti are not giving those heaty pranayams. Or people who have excessive vayu in the body are given certain kinds of asanas and certain kinds of pranayam. And now there is a importance of recovery. Like once you do your exercise, how do we recover? So even Ayurveda has mentioned that after exercises, body has to pacify all the vayu and they have to recover by doing shavasana. So they haven't mentioned shavasana, but a complete recovery by relaxation is described. Even yoga emphasizes a lot on shavasana. Then I've picked up this activity which is called a snan or bath. Uh, What does a bath do and why it is so important? Every day we cleanse by default. Even if you don't want to, the body is going to pee, body is going to shit out, body is going to spit out, body is going to throw some tears. But there's a lot of sweat that comes on the skin, and that needs to be removed off. So how to have bath, with what to have bath, all that has been described in Ayurveda. Now, when you do have a bath, Ayurveda has described that it's Agni Deepak, means it improves your Agni or your digestive fire. It also improves your bal or your enthusiasm. Now, there's also a mention who should be avoiding bath. People who are having fever should never have bath. People who have had their lunch or their any meal should not go for bath or immediately post exercise. So those who are yoga teachers can advise their clients or their students that when you exercise or when you do your asanas or when you do your pranayam, immediately do not go for bath because it harms your body. Then you can also mention to them about the temperature that they should use for bath. So according to season, according to the prakriti, you change the temperature of the water. So in cooler seasons, use lukewarm water. You use cold water in hotter seasons, and Ayurveda mentions that you should never use hot water or warm hot water on your head because that will harm all your senses. So whenever you're washing your head, make it sure that you use, if you cannot tolerate the tap water, just make it a little bit lukewarm, but not hot water. Nowadays, the reason for excessive hair fall and hearing loss or vision problems is because of using excessively hot water for your head bath. And the last one that I've picked is Ratri Charya. There is a lot that goes between having a bath and then reaching to night, the end of the day. So Ratri Charya, Ayurveda says, the rest of the Dinacharya, we will look at it in very detail when we take the full session. But ideally, a person should have his dinner before sunset, because as the sun comes up, all the system opens up. It's like a sunflower. It opens up. The moment the sun goes down, your system collapses. It becomes shrink. It shrinks. Basically, it doesn't collapse, but it collapses into a shrunken state. So whatever you eat doesn't get digested very well. So Ayurveda advises to eat before sunset, and it has to be a very light meal. It advises you have to relax and switch off. You relax and switch off because you should not tire your senses mentally, physically, by working out or talking too much or watching too much of TV or using too much of phone. Phone is just a modern example, but it simply says do not tire out your senses. You have to learn to acknowledge what is your capacity and where do you tire out. And you need to stop just before that. That is what Ayurveda suggests. So know your limits, stop before that, and always be in an attitude of gratitude. Spend some relaxing time with the family and enjoy the social bonding. Yes, sir? Someone was speaking. Hello?
Continue, Dr. Rina, continue.
Yeah. So Ayurveda suggests to sleep early, and tentative time for our Indian continent is around 9:30 to 10 p.m. Now, what happens if somebody tries to stay awake post this time? The pitta in the body will increase, and if pitta in your body increases, two things will happen. One thing is, because you are awake in the pitta time, you'll still feel hungry, so you'll tend to eat. So 10 to 2 is the pitta time. If you do not sleep by 10, you might get a sleep which is of bad quality, not a very deep sleep. You might get thoughts, you might get dreams. Another thing is their body is actually recovering during the sleep time. So if you do not sleep by 10, the recovery that should happen by the night time doesn't happen. The morning, next morning when you wake up, you do not wake up fresh. Try and bring your sleeping times earlier. A lot of people keep working late in the night. So probably they can switch over from working late into the night to working early in the morning. So if somebody is sleeping at 2, I do not suggest that they start sleeping at 10 today itself, but maybe they can, get it to 1:30 for 3 days, then make it 1, then make it 10. Keep increasing your sleep clock earlier, half of hour. And so by end of a week or 10 days or maybe a month, you should fall back into the line. And if you sleep at 10, your doshas get balanced very well. If you keep awake after 10, there is a certain increase of dryness in the body. Now, if you see a smooth road and you see a khadde wala road, imagine what happens when rain falls. अगर बारिश गिरती है तो खड्डे वाले रास्ते में जम जाती है, लेकिन अगर स्मूथ रास्ता है तो उस पे बारिश जाती है एंड निकल जाती है. Similarly, if you sleep at 10, if the system is very smooth, all your channels are working very fine. All the nutrition that you've accumulated by the food that you've eaten gets circulated very well in the body. But if you wake beyond 10, what happens is naturally, because there is heat in the body, heat in the environment, your body starts drying up because of the heat. And because it starts drying up, it starts forming a lot of aberrations in all your system. And then the nutrition process breaks down. It stops at some place, then it walks at some place, it stops at some place, and it walks at some place. So next morning when you wake up, you do not feel that nourished. So sleep also has a nourishing factor. Now, when we begin from day to night, there's also a lot of information or knowledge about how to sleep, when to sleep, and what bed to sleep, and everything. But we have a different speaker for that, and we'll look into that when that other speaker speaks. Now, because we have reached Ratri Charya and we have also reached to the end of our day, I would just give you a small thank you and end my session over here. And if anybody has any question regarding the practical aspects of this Dincharya, you can please ask the question. I have a question, which is what tooth powder is recommended? So you can use ready-made tooth powders like Vico Vajradanti, or even you get a lot of tooth powders from Ayurvedic pharmacies. You can also use Dantakanti tooth powder. Then there is a simple method. You can use plain Trifla powder if you do not get any ready-made tooth powder. So plain Trifla powder along with a little bit of oil or with a little bit of pinch of senza salt, you can rub it. Try and avoid using tooth powders which have excessive salt in it, because excessive salt is not good for health. Okay, I have another question. When one is not supposed to brush? It's an interesting question. People, those who have indigestion, should not brush. So now the next question is, then what should people do to cleanse their mouth? So the answer is very simple. You get Trifla powder. You can simply put it in hot water and you should gargle with it. And how do you gargle? So what you do is you hold the Trifla decoction in your mouth, swish it around till a while you feel that all the plaque has started moving out from your mouth. It will also clear your tongue also. It will also clear your throat. So do not, and how to find out that whether you have indigestion. Morning when you wake up, the moment you open your eyes, how long do you take to get out from the bed? Just observe that. If that moment that you wake up, means you open your eyes and get out of the bed, is 0 second, then it means the previous night meal has been digested completely. If it hasn't, it will take you 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And people who just keep lying in the bed and keep doing this and that and this and that and take as long as they want to, it means the food is not digested. So how far are you from your health? You can just judge from that. But how long do you take to wake up? Wake up means just open your eyes and get out of the bed. How long is that distance? So that you'll come to it. I have another question. While doing Netra Prakshalan, I should be open or closed? Yes, please keep your eyes open. Now, why open and why not closed? Because when you open your eyes, the cornea, which is the most sensitive part of the eye, gets sensitized when you splash water. The moment you splash it, cornea has immense sensations that go right to your brain and awaken you up. Any other questions?
Dr. Heema, we have Mr. Dinesh Daveji who has raised his hand as well.
Yes.
Sir, could you please ask your question?
Yes, Dinesh, please ask your question. I guess that would be by mistake. Okay, so I can give you a quick jot down. You can just have a small note that what you can do is once you wake up, I don't know how many of you are going to subscribe to the whole course, but even who have come just to listen one lecture, just please take this takeaway things. You can inculcate these things, very small things in your life. So the first thing, what should one do for bad breath in the morning? Okay. Now I'll answer that question first and then I'll give the short note. So the bad breath in the morning comes only because you have a bad tummy. If you have indigestion only, then you will have bad breath in the mouth. Okay. So for bad breath, what you can do is you should ideally brush with a Casella tooth powder. Instead of a toothpaste, try using tooth powder. And you should gargle with Trifla. It's very easily available. You can also use warm water with haldi, trifla, and salt, and you can gargle with that. So not just swishing around, but you can take it deep down and do the gargle. So that will help you with bad breath. There are also few other things that we do in Dincharya, like sunt powder inhalation and holding sunt in the mouth or chewing tambul. Tambul means the nagarvel ka patta, the pan. A lot of other things are there, but from this dincharya that we have learned, the simple thing that you can do is you can use a tooth powder and gargle. That will help you with it. Yeah. Anybody has? Yes.
One more question we have.
Okay.
You can follow the-
lot of things come out.
Yeah.
दरवाजा बंद कर दो.
The question is, who can follow Dincharya?
Okay. So anybody and everybody can follow dincharya and they should follow dincharya. Dincharya is for right from a 0-day baby to an elderly person. It's not exclusive, it's inclusive of everybody, but we change the dincharya for whoever is following. Okay, what is instant solution if we take time to get out of the bed and we have indigestion? Okay, so first thing is it's not going to be like in a quick fix that you will get out of indigestion. You will have to work on your Jataragni, you have to work on your digestion. We can have a look at it in the whole long session that we have. But how to get out of the bed quickly? So what you can do is you can become aware of your breath. The moment you become aware of your breath, you are actually trying to balance all your vayus. So observe your breath that is coming in this area. The moment you do that, it will automatically send signals to rest of the vayus in the body and they will start settling. The moment you do that, you might pass a little bit of gas, you might burp a little bit, and then you can get out of the bed very easily. Another thing that you can do is you can just stretch yourself. stretch long, stretch wide, and that also stimulates your wide. So that's a very instant solution to get out of it. Okay, for how long? How long can we have bath after yoga, or is better to have bath before yoga? Okay, so if you are doing your, see, yoga doesn't mean only asana and pranayama. It includes a lot of other things. But if you're talking specifically about asanas and pranayam, then the moment you do your pranayam and your asanas, you have a certain increase in body temperature. Once that body temperature comes back to absolutely normal, only then you can have bath. Otherwise, your body goes into shock every time you have bath after exercise. And is it better to have bath before yoga? Ideally, you have bath after yoga, that is better. The reason is when you do your asanas and when you do your pranayams, there are a lot of toxins that get out from body. So either you choose to have 2 times bath, or it's better that you do your exercises, your pranayam and yoga, and then you go for bath. When you get up, one nostril is predominant in breath than the other. Why? That's the nature of the body. There's always one nostril predominant in every single person at every certain moment. Only in 60-minute cycle of an hour, there will be only one time when, for a minute or so, when both the nostrils are active. And what happens is, whenever the heat, if we look according to yoga, there is Chandra Nadi and Surya Nadi. Only one is more active in certain time. And if you have both the nostrils active at the same time, then also there will be predominance in one of the nostrils. If it is blocked completely that you can't breathe, then it's definitely a physical problem. Otherwise, it's very normal to have one nostril predominant. Yes, for nasal cleansing, we in Ayurveda we have a lot of nasal cleansing recommendations. Like in yoga, as we have neti, we have jal neti, doodh neti, and ghrita neti. We have a common practice of cleansing the nose by lot of things like powders, oils, ghees, water, milk, anything. But in the current scenario that we are facing with the COVID, the simplest thing that anybody can do who doesn't have an uncontrolled blood pressure and bleeding tendencies, what they can do is they can use dry ginger powder, suntka powder, which is without lime. You take around a small quantity of a moong dal jitna. Okay, so you can use it, take it on your tip, close one nostril and inhale. Like how you snort cocaine, sorry to say this, but you can simply snort ginger powder. So do it on the one nostril and do it on the other nostril. It will cleanse all your sinuses, this and this sinus. It will cleanse your throat. It will also remove all the phlegm. For people who have bleeding tendencies, they should consult a doctor and then do it. But rest everybody can do from the age of 8 years to a old elderly person. Anybody can do this. Those who have excess acidity problems, they should refrain from using sun powder without consulting their doctor. The rest you can use nasal cleansing for COVID, because what happens is when no, a pregnant woman cannot do it. Can we use water? See, in Ayurveda, we do not recommend water. What happens is this area is full of sinus. It has a lot of phlegm inside. So when you use water, it is cold in its potency. So if you use water to cleanse this area, then there will be again formation of phlegm. Though we do Kapalbhati after using water for Jalaneti, but still there is a tendency in this area to form a lot of phlegm. So in Ayurveda, we generally used boiled water, like a ginger boiled water or salt water to instill drops, but we don't use like how we do neti. We just use medicated oils, medicated ghees. We even use ginger juice. But for regular use, if you want to use, ginger powder is the best one. During mental shorts, what's the question?
How do we meditate?
See, during mental shocks, how do we meditate? So everybody has different liking to different kind of meditative practices. So if you can clean your mind with any kind of meditative practice that you choose that suits your prakriti, your liking, or your tendencies. Like everybody has a different tendency, and we have a lot of memories from our past lives. We have genetic memory. We also have a social memory, or we have a upbringing in the house. So whatever practice you choose fit for yourself will help you for your mental shock. But for somebody who has never done any kind of any practice, a simple practice to begin with is just observing your breath. If a person is also unable to observe the breath, they can just learn, okay, I'm sitting with closed eyes. They can just become aware of that. So how am I sitting? How my body is placed? Or how does the air feel on me? They can meditate with such a simple. You don't need anything special to meditate. Just being aware is also meditation. Yes. Any more questions? Yes. Warm water with salt for nasya. You can use warm water with salt for nasya. Yes, definitely you can use saline water. But when you're using the salt, try to use sendav salt and not the regular salt. Yes. Any more questions?
Okay, madam. Thank you very much, Dr. Heema, madam. You have so precisely described to even John and everybody early to bed, early to rise. Dry skins indicates what? Last question. Well, friends, this is the last question. After this will be wind up because still you have to learn more in the lectures to come ahead.
Okay. So dry skin indicates that there is excessive vayu in the body or excessive dryness created by the heat of pitta in the body. Basically, nourishment is drying up in the body.
Okay, thank you very much, Hema madam. You have given a very quite precise knowledge about what to do since morning to night, how we should get up, at what time we should get up, early to bed, early the rise, always the best. So friends, to hear more from Dr. Hema madam and other speakers, kindly contact Miss Arita madam or Dr. Shyam Sundar Sharma for the course which are starting on the 15th of this October. So thank you very much, Dr. Hema madam, for sparing a valuable time and giving us so wide knowledge about the Dinacharya. Thank you very much.
Dr. Heema, it was really excellent session, and the best part of this was this Ratri Charya, because if person is doing properly for this Ratri Charya, so definitely Dincharya is going to be smooth. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Heema. I'd like to second what Vinod sir and Shyam sir have also said. I think nowadays everyone's lifestyle is just gone for a toss. Nobody really follows things. So we know we're supposed to do something. Mostly we don't. So, these small little tips that you've given, and they're such easy things to follow technically, is really nice. And it's very scientifically explained, very nicely explained. So thank you so much. We enjoyed the session.
તમે કઈ ટિપ્સ આપવાના હતા શું થયું એનું નાની નાની ટિપ્સ આપવાના હતા
નાની ટિપ્સ આ જ છે 5 વસ્તુ જે આપણે કરીને એ ખાલી નોટ ડાઉન કરી લો કે સવારે ઉઠો તો શું કરવાનું ઉઠીને પછી શું કરવાનું ઉઠ્યા પછી જોવાનું કે ભાઈ મારું ખાવાનું ડાયજેસ્ટ થયું છે કે નથી થયું તો ભાઈ પાછા ઊંઘી જાઓ હજમ થઈ જશે તો ઓટોમેટિકલી ઉઠી જશો આપે ઓકે એના પછી આંખમાં પાણી મારો ઊભા થઈને એના પછી જ્યારે મોશન આવે ત્યારે જવાનું જોર નહીં કરવાનું કે મારો ટાઈમ થઈ ગયો should not go and strain go whenever it's time to go for potty try to use the Indian way of sitting in the commode you just require a small stool under your feet just elevate that bend a little bit forward say 60 degrees 45 degrees it will automatically correct pour water on your feet after you pass urine and stool. It's a very simple thing, but when you do it, you will realize the difference. Especially people who are hurrying all the time will definitely realize it within a week. Okay. After that, there was mental shot. So that was a meditative practice. I think I explained you can use any meditative practice. Then it was about the datun thing. So you can use a tooth powder. You can use a datun and switch over from a sweeter toothpaste to a toothpaste which has less sweetness in it. Third thing is tongue cleansing. You can use a copper tongue cleaner and a steel tongue cleaner. Silver and gold are currently out of the system, out of everybody's reach. Okay. After that, we had exercises or vyayam. You choose your exercise well according to your body. You choose yoga. It's very calming. If you do gymming, it is actually caused by you gather energy by aggression. So I wouldn't advise कि you do gymming because उसकी energy भी aggression से ही बाहर निकलती है. Yoga is gathering energy with calmness and you release also with calmness. So that was about the exercises. And then it was about bath. Do not have bath after your meals. Okay. And then we just spoke about the Ratri Charya. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, madam. Thank you.
Sorry for
Thank you
taking
very
up so
much,
much.
everyone.
Madam.
Have a nice weekend, everyone, and good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. Good night, everybody. Shubh Ratri.
Good night.
Yeah.